When it comes to the realms of comic books, it's not just the superpowers that you have to worry about. It's the weapons and entities that exist out there that can be wielded or controlled to go and just wreak havoc on the world as a whole. Marvel Comics has had a whole plethora of items that have been used to devastating effect by heroes and villains alike. But which one stands out as some of the best of the best? Allow us to show you the 10 most powerful weapons in Marvel history. Be sure to like the video and subscribe to the channel. Number 10. The Staff of One. There are all sorts of magical artifacts in the realms of Marvel Comics, but the Staff of One is arguably the most powerful of them all. Why? Because when a user casts a spell, it can literally alter the fabric of reality in order to make the spell come to pass no matter what, which is obviously incredibly powerful and useful. It also can be pulled from the wielder's body at any time, so it's not something you have to worry about always having on hand. The reason that this artifact isn't higher on the list, though, is very simple. You see, the drawback of the Staff of One is limitations in terms of how many times you can cast a spell. Mainly, you can only cast it once. If you try it again, bad things happen. There are workarounds, of course, including using different languages to cast spells and rewording things to try and get around the limitation. But that's a lot to think about before making a spell in the heat of battle. Still, the heroes who wield this staff are someone you don't want to go up against. Number 9. Mjolnir. Easily one of the most famous weapons in all of comic book history, Mjolnir is the hammer that is usually wielded by the demigod Thor, though others have wielded it, to be clear. This hammer was made inside of a dying star, and it contains a literal celestial storm. Plus, it's made of Uru, a nearly unbreakable material. When you put all of this together, you get a weapon that just isn't tough. It's near impossible to fight against. The thing can dent all but the hardest of substances, like other Uru, vibranium, etc. And when swung, it doesn't just launch Thor through speed at super faster than light speeds. Its impact can break worlds. It can channel energy, disperse lightning, and so on and so forth. Obviously, the catch here is that you must be deemed worthy by the hammer itself in order to wield it. But when you do wield it, enemies aren't going to be lining up to face you. Number 8. The Muramasa Blade. Swords have played a huge role in the Marvel Comics over the years, from the ebony blade of the Black Knight to the soul sword of magic and so on. Blades rule in the Marvel Universe, but the blade we're talking about here is the Muramasa Blade. This blade was created at the request of Wolverine himself by the legendary swordmaster Muramasa. The blade literally has a piece of Wolverine's soul inside of it, and the perks of this and its foraging are numerous, especially when you're fighting someone like Wolverine. You see, this blade is so sharp it can cut you on a molecular level, to the extent that if you are cut by this blade, that wound won't heal. It can even negate healing factor to ensure that the cuts don't heal. It's so powerful, it can even cut through adamantium, which was another thing Wolverine wanted because this sword is his failsafe should he ever need to be put down. Number 7. Jarnbjorn. You might be surprised that Thor has 2 weapons, and each of them are devastating in abilities. But while Mjolnir is his go-to weapon, once upon a time he had a devastating axe known as Jarnbjorn. This axe at first was pretty basic, as it was made of Uru and looked just like an axe. But as was revealed in Uncanny Avengers, it was a weapon that was eventually blessed with certain enchantments that would allow Thor to quite literally cut through anything with this axe. And while that may sound like a typical boast from the God of Thunder, it was meant to be taken literally. Because Thor proved this by using Jarnbjorn to cut through a Celestial's armor, which, for the record, are some of the most powerful entities in all of the Marvel Universe. Thor later hid the axe away because of its power, but when it was uncovered by Kang the Conqueror, who tricked Thor into making the axe enchanted, he used it to equally devastating effect. Oops. Number 6. The Ultimate Nullifier. With a name like that, it has to be powerful, right? Well, yeah, it is. And it's so powerful that it can take on beings like Galactus and Thanos wearing a certain gauntlet. You see, it's easy to look at this device and name and say that it nullifies powers, but you'd be wrong. In fact, this item nullifies the target in question from the universe itself. Yes, it'll wipe out anything it's pointed at. No questions asked. The only catch, like many items on this list, is that you need incredible intellect and willpower to wield, which is why you often see it in the hands of Reed Richards, who usually won't use it, but isn't afraid to use it as a deterrent. Number 5. Crimson Gem of Sidorak. Most of you have likely heard about the unstoppable Juggernaut, but what most forget is that his powers come from the dark god Sidorak, who blesses his hosts with his gem to give him a fraction of his powers. These powers make him one of the toughest beings in all of Marvel. But wait, there's more. The gem only gives wielders a fraction of power, but if you were able to absorb all its energy, you could alter the fabric of reality, which Juggernaut has done once. Number 4. The Heart of the Universe. This one is tricky because it's technically canon and yet not. You see, in an alternate Marvel universe, it was revealed that there was a heart to the universe, and it could be used to help remake things on any level without issue or restriction or test and so on. Naturally, it was kept a secret because of its power. And just as naturally, Thanos got it, and he beat the crap out of gods and entities that would have crushed him otherwise. But even Thanos knew that it was too much, so he remade the universe and left the heart of the universe out of it. So it's not canon anymore. Yeah. Number 3. Phoenix Force. We noted in the intro that not all weapons are simple objects. Some are living entities that imbue beings with their power, and few are as mighty as the Phoenix Force. The Phoenix Force is an entity of fire and life, all in one cosmic frame. On its own, it can easily wipe out worlds, galaxies, and not even break a fiery sweat. But when housed in a host, yeah, it can do a lot more, and it's terrifying to behold. Whether it be Jean Grey or others, a person imbued with this living weapon is someone not to be trifled with. Whole species have been wiped out by the Phoenix's flame, and even the Avengers are wary whenever it comes to Earth, which is rather often. Number 2. Cosmic Cube. There are certain items that when you hear the names, you know they're powerful and not to be messed with. The Cosmic Cube is one such item. Long before the time of the Infinity Quest, Thanos sought the power of the Cosmic Cube. It's a reality-warping item that can well and truly rewrite reality in all sorts of ways based on what the user wants. To put the cube's power into perspective, the Black Panther used the Cosmic Cube to make entire worlds. The Red Skull once used it to create a new reality, and Thanos once used a man-made Cosmic Cube to banish higher beings like Eternity to another plane of existence. And that's just some of the examples we could use. Using the cube is not easy. You have to have superior concentration to tap into its power. A stray thought can blow up the universe. Plus, they can be destroyed, but even a fragment is enough to ruin everything. Number 1. The Infinity Gauntlet. Come on, you knew this had to be number 1. The Infinity Gems, or stones depending on the continuity, are easily some of the most powerful things on their own. But when you combined them via the Infinity Gauntlet, you're pretty much God. Because the wielder of the gauntlet, with the gems inside, is able to make any thought, any wish, any construct, any desire come true with as little as a finger snap. We all know about the snap Thanos did to wipe out half the universe, but it's been used for all sorts of things throughout Marvel history. It's brought back the dead, reversed time so that other Infinity Gauntlet decisions couldn't be done, and so on and so forth. If one wanted, you could literally remake the universe in your image. It all depends on what you want and when you get the gauntlet around your hand, which is why the heroes of Marvel work very hard to make sure no one wields it again. So, what do you think? What do you think of this look at Marvel Comics history and the weapons that have affected the whole universe and multiverse over time? Which of these weapons or entities is your personal favorite? Which ones do you wish you could wield if you were a hero or villain? Do you know of other weapons or entities that could be on this list because of their effect on the Marvel Universe? Let us know in the comments below. Be sure to subscribe, and we'll see you next time on the channel.